Kevin Costner has left the series Yellowstone. What's his next move? It's the epic saga Horizon. We've got the first footage from that movie. We're going to talk about a few other updates around it. We're going to do it right now on the Sundowners Club. So we've been covering Yellowstone, all things Yellowstone on Paramount Plus. Kevin Costner was brought back into stardom, a guy that Sterling, when we were growing up, was a huge movie star. And then he faded, like a lot of stars do. It's hard to maintain that type of stardom for a long period of time. He did it for about 25 years.
Yeah.
And then as new generation of movie watchers and streaming and cable and all that took off, Kevin's star faded a little bit, and he was brought back into the forefront with this new hit show, Yellowstone, that we've covered, and that has caused several spinoffs that have basically put Paramount Plus on the map in the Taylor Sheridan verse. And now he's exiting the show, and we've covered the somewhat bitter exit of Kevin Costner playing John Dutton in Yellowstone. And we briefly mentioned that he had a pet project, something that's been on his plate for 30 years, since 1988, after Dances with Wolves, and it was called Horizon. And it's an epic Western saga that explores expansion, explores the treatment of Native Americans, a lot of things that Costner has had experience and delving into with Dances with Wolves. And now we've got a little bit more information. And so, I'm gonna briefly talk about what the movie's about before we talk about the teaser that it was just released. I want to get your thoughts. So, according to Costner, this story stretches out over a 15-year period that includes pre- and post-Civil War American West. And it wants to take the film aims to take a deeper look at the period of time in history that deals with the friction between those who attempted to expand settlements and the things the violence that people had to deal with. And according to the website Collider, they've got some quotes from Kevin Costner. And Kevin Costner said, America's expansion into the West was one that was fraught with peril and intrigue, from the natural elements to the interactions with the indigenous peoples who lived on the land, and the determination that at many times ruthlessness of those who sought to settle it. Horizon tells the story of that journey in an honest and forthcoming way, highlighting the points of view and consequences of the characters' life and death decisions. So, Collider, put that out this week. And first, before we talk about the teaser, what do you think about Kevin Costner exiting Yellowstone when he did in season 5 to take on, in essence, he left for this, to do his dream project? First, let's start there. What do you think about him leaving and the way he left and what he left Yellowstone for?
Well, I think it's risky, but he's at the point where, he doesn't have to work to eat. So, he can do whatever he wants. I think it is odd to leave. I think it was the number one ranked TV show, and
it put Paramount Plus on the map.
Yeah,
and then they released it on CBS, just on basic TV, and it's still got millions of viewers, which is crazy when the first season's been out for 5 years.
Yeah, to leave the most popular TV show, but he's the guy that came from film and big movies, and I think he wants to get back into that. And worst case scenario, it flops. He's still going to be rich. So
he's still Kevin Costner.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You know how he feels. He feels like Taylor Sheridan didn't make him. They helped each other. So I think Costner probably acknowledges Taylor Sheridan's genius, because you can't not acknowledge that. The guys come up with hit after hit, and Sheridan would have to acknowledge Costner's genius too. So they both played a part in the launching of Yellowstone. But I will say that one of the things I do like is that, and we see it in this teaser, that is brief, but we talk all the time about filming on location, whether it's TV shows, series, movies. There's nothing that can replace the scenery, even if you're doing something that's science fiction oriented, which in this case it's a Western, or it's more about the expansion west.
I'd hate to see green screen in a Western.
Well, yeah, unless you were doing something that's cowboys and aliens.
Right.
But which has been done before. But where this movie is being filmed is in southern Utah. So it takes place. They filmed in Moab in the St. George areas of southern Utah, and so you've got these grand vistas, sweeping vistas, where they're filming this movie, and we see it in the teaser. And so the teaser's not very long, but a couple things jumped out at me, and I want to get your thoughts first on the teaser. What it's brief, but what did anything jump out at you in the teaser?
Not really. I mean, you're seeing Kevin Costner getting in a cowboy hat, like
Riding a horse,
riding a horse.
firing the rifle.
Yeah, I mean, it's it takes place in the beginning of America, so it's and it's definitely looks like it's on location.
No doubt, yeah.
So I mean, that's refreshing.
So a couple of things that did jump out to me was first the cast. So in the teaser, they make a point of showing the full the cast list. So we've got Jenna Malone, Sienna Miller. We've got our guy from Avatar and Clash of the Titans, Sam Worthington.
Which I haven't really seen him as much as I thought I would.
He's not in a lot of
stuff.
stuff.
As big as Avatar was, he hasn't really been in a whole lot.
But he's good. I mean, I like Sam Worthington.
Yep.
He's kind of one of those guys that when you think about choices to play certain roles, he doesn't get mentioned a lot because he's not in the public eye. But he's good.
He is.
I haven't really seen him in anything that I haven't enjoyed. Then we have a few other names that I think are interesting. We've got Giovanni Ribisi. We've got Michael Rooker. We've got Thomas Hayden Church. So Kathleen Quinlan, who was in Apollo 13.
Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson is another one that's kind of a sneaky good supporting actor. So this is a huge ensemble cast, and I think they've done a really good job of putting this cast together. And so the teaser talks about that, which I thought was interesting that they focused on that for the teaser. Another thing though was part 1 and part 2, and this we have to talk about.
Yeah. So
they're going to release this movie in 2 parts, at least to start with. His original vision was 4 movies, but they got the first 2 done, and they're going to release part 1 June 28th, and then they're going to wait 2 months and release part 2 August 16th. Not a year wait, not 6 months, but 2 months. What do you think about that?
I think that's a terrible idea. I mean, the second one's success is, if the first one flops, then it has no chance. And then I think you have the issue of when people see that movie, for the hardcore fans that are aware that it's 2 parts, they know they're not going to get a complete movie. And for anyone else who just wants to see a Western, it's not going to feel complete. So,
and Oppenheimer just came out and is going to make almost $1 billion, and it was long.
What was that? I mean, it was over 3 hours. What was it?
If not right at it. It was long. It was very long.
But I'm going to guess
these
are going to be at least 2 hours apiece, or they could be 3 hours.
At least. And then we had Mission Impossible, which, I will add the caveat that if it's good, people are going to go see it. So I'm convinced of that. But even though the Western has typically been a risky venture in the movie theaters the last 25 years, we grew up with Westerns.
Yeah.
Like Westerns were
Tombstone, Young Guns.
All the Clint Eastwood movies, The Unforgiven.
Yep.
310 to Yuma. We've had some in recent years that have come out as well that are good.
The True Grit remake was good.
The remake of True Grit. And then Costner himself did Wide Earp, and he did Open Range. So they're out there. And look, I'm a fan of a Western, just like I'm a fan of other genres, as long as it's well written and it's good.
We haven't had a lot of good ones recently, though.
No.
It's been really since about the 2010s.
This will be a major test at the theater to see can this genre still pack people in the theater? Can it do that? Or is it going to fall by the wayside and be a struggle like what Mission Impossible just went through with the whole part 1 of Dead Reckoning, which I think was a mistake.
Well, hopefully they don't have to make $500, $600 million to break even. Hopefully they're smart about that. I don't know what the budget is, but
Mission Impossible also went up against Barbenheimer, so that hurt. So the timing of when these movies come out is critical too. But so those were some interesting things about the teaser that we wanted to talk about. 1, what visually was in it. 2, showing the cast list to show you that this is a huge ensemble of really good actors to tell this big story. And then part 1 coming out in June and part 2 coming out in August, June 28th and August 16th, respectively. And so has Kevin Costner made the right move? You let us know what you think. Do you think it was the right decision for him to leave Yellowstone when he did, and to not only leave Yellowstone, but to leave it for this project? And let us know what you think. Leave a comment. Most importantly, hit that like button, hit the notifications bell, and hit subscribe so that we can continue to grow our channel. And TCB.